more deduction. And then we'll go over some homework first thing next time. I do have some video on this already in D2L. I want to introduce you to categorical logic. I forget what page this starts on in your textbook. I forget if it's page 38 or what. But the author gives us some of the rudiments of categorical logic. Categorical logic is the oldest form of doing this kind of logic. It actually goes all the way back to the ancient Greeks. We call it categorical logic because the main units of relation are what we call categories. You might also hear us call categories classes of things. You might also hear us simply calling them terms. Now, the author of the text unfortunately doesn't go into this much detail on it, but then asks you questions about categorical logic that sort of depends upon your understanding this. Categorical claims will always possess in the middle a copula. By the way, the copula will be a linking verb. It will always be either what two words? Are or is. A categorical statement will always contain a predicate and a what else? And the subject. And there will always be quantifying words and qualifying words. Such as all. This is an example of what you saw in the textbook that was called an A statement. A statements, their quantifier is, it is a universal claim. In other words, we're talking about all members. It is an affirmative because we're saying all something are something else. We're not saying something is not something else. Now, the example you may have seen in the textbook, all humans are what? Yeah. You saw the statement, all humans are mortal. All Greeks are humans. That's another one. All pies are pastries. In other words, there's all, and I think someone said, what is it, all Steelers fans are wear black and gold. Did I read that one? Yeah. In other words, there's all kinds of statements that you could make that would count as A statements. Next one. E statements. No P or Q. We call this an E statement. No wallabies or reptiles. You see, for this one, it's a universal statement because we're talking about no members. And it's a negative. Some Republicans are pro-life. That would be a true I statement. Some values voters are Democrats. Whatever a values voter means, these are just political crap buzzwords. Anyway, finally, O statements are some P are not Q. Now, folks, you may have seen in the textbook. How many of you saw this word mood? Good. The mood of a syllogism refers to the letters that designate the three statements found in that argument. That's why when you saw this one, all humans are mortals, all Greeks are humans, therefore, all Greeks are mortals. The author told you that the mood of that syllogism was what? A, A, A. And you may have seen that other example that said all blank, some are, and then some are. That was an A-I-I syllogism. That was an A-I-I. Now, if you had difficulty on those homeworks, just because the author of the text didn't give you quite enough to go on, no worries yet, because you're going to get feedback. Now you know what the mood of a syllogism is, correct? It refers to the three-letter designation of the three kinds of statements. Categorical statements have to be written in this way. I'm going to give you some homework in just a minute. Now, one of you gave an example, and this is why it pays to have looked at some homework a little bit early. Somebody said, I think it was, I think the statement was birds can fly. Now, to be correct about this categorically, it would have to say this. All birds are, is that how you spell flyers? Or is it with a Y, like the Philly Flyers? Who cares? But that's technically how you would have to write that as a categorical statement. Now, not to be a total jackass here. This is a properly done A statement, but it's not what? True. It's not true. It's a false statement. Because there are penguins and there are ostriches. Some birds actually are non-flyers. So this is actually a false statement. But it was a fair effort to written this way. It is a correct A statement. It is just false. It is just false. But yeah, if you're going to write proper standard form categorical statements, they have to be structured just so. And it turns out that it's not all that difficult to get birds can fly and to turn it into a standard form categorical claim. Sometimes, I mean, this might sound a little more awkward, but it is in standard form. Now, before you go, I didn't get quite as far as I wanted to today, but I did get far enough for you to be able to give this Relatively easy first syllogism homework, a shot. Don't worry. All you have to do is jog your memory on setting up moods. Give these